Good evening, friends. Dr. Harpseal here. Tonight we take it to Taji, Japan, and shine more light on their horrific dolphin drive hunt. Many of us first heard about this dolphin drive hunt from the award-winning documentary movie, The Cove, that came out in 2009. The Cove put this barbaric hunt on center stage for the world to see. Unfortunately, this hunt has been going on for decades. It has become to be known as Taji's dirty little secret. And my friends, that is putting it very mildly. Let's see how the fishermen lure the pods of dolphins into the cove. Once a pod is located, the fishermen form a V shape surrounding the dolphins with their boats. The dolphin hunters then lower steel poles, one on each side of each boat. Then they start hammering on the top of the poles. This creates sounds that terrify and disorient the dolphins, causing them to swim into the open part of the V shape and in the direction of the driving boats, forcing the pod into the cove where the shallow waters are. Once the dolphins are in the cove, the hunters simply lay the nets down from one side of the cove to the other, and the pods are trapped. At this point, the marine mammal trainers will join the hunters in the shallow waters, selecting the prettiest dolphins to take into captivity. The ones that are not selected get brutally slaughtered for their meat. No compassion is shown by the hunters for the baby dolphins, the pregnant females, or the grandparents. All are killed. Normally, the hunters wait until the very next morning to inflict such horrors on these defenseless mammals. The hunters deliberately wait until the next morning to commit their slaughter. They do this for two reasons. Firstly, they've been out all day and want to get home. Secondly, by the time regular civilians of Taji walk by, the bloodied waters have turned blue again. The dolphins are killed by spear thrusts as well as sharp fisherman hooks. In other words, repeatedly stabbed to death. Some dolphins take as much as 30 minutes to die. Many people ask why the dolphins don't just jump the nets. After all, dolphins can jump very high out of the water. Jumping the nets would be no problem for them. The thing about that is, dolphins don't understand artificial boundaries like nets and other fishing barricades. The only boundaries dolphins know are the shoreline and the ocean's surface. So for them to jump the nets would be jumping into the unknown. That is not a jump they are willing to make. Once the movie The Cove came out, the fishermen tailored their killing methods. One method they used is to force a sharp metal spike into the dolphin's neck, which is supposed to sever the spinal cord and kill them instantaneously, meaning a more humane kill. Boy, that sure does not sound like a humane kill to me. The hunters then use wooden corks to fill in the wounds and reduce the blood spilled to hide their dastardly acts. The fishermen even pull the dolphins underneath plastic tarps to prevent cove guardians or the general media from getting footage of it. As I am reading this, I cannot believe the Japanese government allows this to go on. Now, it's interesting to note the captivity market acts innocent, as they are not the ones actually killing dolphins. And yet the marine life trainers so cavalierly join the hunters in the selection process, knowing the vicious cycle they are partaking in. I will take it a step further. Not only are the marine life trainers from the captivity market partaking in this barbaric hunt, but the captivity market itself is what's driving this hunt altogether. We will talk about that shortly. Let's look at why the government of Japan allows this 21st century Holocaust to harbor on their shores. And make no mistake, this is nothing short of a Holocaust. Firstly, The government says the main reason for the dolphin hunt is to provide the dolphin meat to the Japanese people. This has been shot down by animal welfare organizations as a result of dolphin meat containing very high levels of PCB and mercury. Sorry about that. Now, just to note, PCBs have been shown to cause cancer and a number of serious non-cancer health effects in animals and people, including effects on the immune system, reproductive system, nervous system. The Japanese people are very aware of the health risks regarding dolphin meat and as a result, rarely eat it. So that reason by the government just does not add up. Secondly, the Japanese government says the dolphin hunts are also a form of pest control. The fishermen argue that dolphins eat too much fish and therefore the fishermen need to kill the competition. It's hard to believe that dolphins are being blamed when overfishing in the ocean by people is a global problem. The dolphins are not the reason for the scarcity of fish. Overfishing around the world is the reason. The Japanese government says the same thing about whales to the International Whaling Commission, that whales eat too much fish and therefore need to be killed. The International Whaling Commission has put a moratorium on hunting whales, but to no avail. Japan continues to hunt whales. Speaking of moratoriums, in 2015, after years of negotiations, the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums suspended the membership of the Japanese Association of Zoos and Aquariums for not adhering to policies that prohibit cruel methods of taking animals from the wild. The Japanese Association for Zoos and Aquariums also rejected a 2-year moratorium on taking animals from the drive. Japan has made it very clear that their dolphin hunt drives will be defended and continued despite all the world pressure. Each year, Japan allows up to 20,000 in total dolphins and small whales to be killed. In Taji alone, 1,500 to 2,000 are killed in the cove. It is important to point out it's the Japanese government and fishery agencies that allow the fishermen to carry out this horrendous hunt. It is not the fault of the Japanese people. Many of them now are in uproars about the dolphin hunts as well. So again, it's the Japanese government and fishery agencies that are allowing this. And of course, the good old tradition and cultural excuse. Let's hear what Rick O'Barry, director of Earth Island's Dolphin Project, has to say about that. Here's his quote. "This claim of Japanese tradition is nonsense. The dolphin drive hunts, according to the town's own written history, says a couple of drive hunts occurred in 1936 and 1944, but the current series of hunts only began in 1969. Closed quote. I was always under the impression that traditions and cultures had at least hundreds of years behind them, sometimes thousands. Rick O'Barry has led the charge against the dolphin hunts in Taji, Japan. Mr. O'Barry arguably knows dolphins better than anyone in the world. He actually started out as a dolphin trainer. Rick O'Barry was first recognized for capturing and training 5 dolphins for the 1960s TV series Flipper. Soon after, O'Barry went from training dolphins in captivity to tirelessly combating the captivity industry. This was triggered by one of the 5 dolphins he trained named Kathy, who died in his arms. O'Barry, till this very day, believes Kathy committed suicide. In 1970, he started the Dolphin Project and has never looked back. He's been fighting for dolphins and other marine life for the past 46 years. He has put Taji's dirty little secret on the world stage for all to see. Friends, when you have time, please check out dolphinproject.net to keep up with the latest news on the plight of the dolphins. So what is the real reason behind the dolphin hunts in Japan? The captivity market is a multi-billion-dollar market. Captured dolphins could go for anywhere from $30,000 up to $250,000. Just think about those numbers for a moment. They're staggering. It's interesting to note that for a dead dolphin's meat, hunters only get $600. Why is the price so low for dolphin meat, you may ask? Very simply, nobody really wants it anymore. Money is what's driving the captivity market. Plain old money. As to why the hunters slaughter the dolphins, it is very little to do with the $600 they receive for the dolphin meat that nobody wants, and has everything to do with killing off the competition so they could have more fish for themselves. Resorts around the world offering swim with dolphin activities by the dolphins, aquariums by them, park and entertainment companies that have dolphin up close tours by them, and so on and so on and so on. Dolphins can live up to 70 years old in the ocean. In captivity, they die within 20 years or less. Also to note, dolphins swim up to 100 miles in one day or more in the ocean. Confining them to the waters of theme parks is literally a prison for them. We also want to give a big shout out to Captain Paul Watson. Captain Watson founded Sea Shepherd Conservation Society in 1977. They are known as Cove Guardians. Sea Shepherd is literally on the front lines trying to get in between the hunters and the dolphins, or trying to lure the dolphins in the opposite direction of the cove. Some have said Sea Shepherd's tactics are sometimes too aggressive. I beg to differ. We should ask the dolphins being bludgeoned to death how they feel about Sea Shepherd's efforts. I would imagine we would hear rave reviews from the dolphins. Captain Watson and Sea Shepherd have made a huge difference in regards to dolphin and whale hunts. Here is a direct quote from him. I have been honored to serve the whales, dolphins, seals, and all other creatures on this earth. Their beauty, intelligence, strength, and spirit have inspired me. These beings have spoken to me, touched me, and have been rewarded. I have been rewarded with friendship by many members of different species. Please check out their website, seashepherd.org. We also would like to salute Australia for dolphins. They have been making a substantial difference with the dolphin drive hunts in Japan, as well as other parts of the world too. One of Australia for dolphins' key strategies is using the law and the court system to stop illegal hunts. Additionally, they hold organizations that support dolphin hunts accountable through legal actions. There are many animal activists around the world all over this topic. Each and every one of them make a difference. But the three organizations I just mentioned have really put the spotlight on Taji for hosting one of the most barbaric and evil hunts on earth. Let's flip this around and pretend these were human beings getting slaughtered like this instead of dolphins. Let's see how the world would tolerate that. Basically, hunters walk into random homes, stab to death a couple of the members of the family in front of the other members who have to watch them bleed to death for about 30 minutes. Then the other members of the family are taken and sent to different countries to become slaves and entertain large crowds for amusement. Sometimes the hunters will let a family member or two go because they have no use for them. They don't like their appearance and feel they would not do well in theme parks. So the three choices are, 1, you get stabbed repeatedly to death and where it takes you about 30 minutes to die. 2, you have just witnessed your family getting murdered and you are shipped off to another country to be a slave until you die. Number 3, you are set free having witnessed your family being bludgeoned to death, the other members taken as slaves whom you'll never see again, and you are free to go back to your life and act like none of this happened. What would the world now do if people were the ones being hunted? As I just read those three options for dolphins, I realize exactly what is going on here. Number one, this is a 21st century Holocaust on dolphins. No question about that. It is every bit as evil. Number two, this is slavery in the 21st century. It is every bit as evil as it was in the 1800s. Number three, this is nothing short of a genocide. I guess I am in the dark because I never got the email from God or Mother Nature saying people can decide which animals live, which animals die, and by what numbers. I can tell you this. I can certainly understand why Mother Nature hits us with earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes, avalanches, typhoons, and so on and so on and so on. To our dolphin and innocent whale friends, we want you to know no lives will go in vain. No pain will go unnoticed. Amen. Dr. Harp Seal for Sammy and family. Thank you for listening.